Welcome back, social media consumers. And today, my goal is to make a video that I won't decide to delete in the next couple of days. In today's video, another one many years in the making. And I'm going to do my best to not let my emotions, muddy the water here. So, today's video is going to be about the difference between talking and writing. Okay, Ollie, you want to get outside? There you go. Little poofer man. Little poofer man. Talking and writing. So I did about 30 seconds of research before making this video because there were some key information that I needed to make a point. So humans have been around for around 300,000 years. Okay? If you believe in that science. And so that entire time we've had voice boxes and have been communicating in some way or another. Literally. Great is the adjective that I like to use. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle I'm on politically. I love the word great, literally. Anyway, so we've been talking for a long time, but guess what? We've only been writing for the last 5,000-ish of years. And by the way, not all of us have been writing. Some of us. Because we didn't all learn to read at the same time. We didn't all learn to write at the same time. We didn't all learn our native language at the same time. Some of us, anyway. See, I'm not going to let my emotions get the best of me. I just, see? My therapist, Megan, having an effect. She probably will watch this too, because I send her my videos. And so, I think so many times in my life, I've had some misunderstandings through text. You see, this has only happened through the last 20 years. The first 20 years of my life, I actually we got to talk to each other. And if you had to have a conversation with a friend, you had to talk to them. So you got to use your 300,000 years of built up, passed down instincts, social cues, to be able to, in some accurate way, convey the thoughts that you are thinking in your head and direct them away and try to get them inside another person's head and get them to understand the thoughts, right? It's much easier to convey accurately the thoughts that you're having to another person when you're just talking to them and using your pie hole, right? It's much easier. It's easier because we as humans have been doing it longer, a very much longer, 300,000 to 5. I don't know what that percentage is, but it's not close. Okay? So we got a lot of experience talking to each other. And then all of a sudden, 20 years ago, or 30 years, let's say 30 years ago, I don't know, to be safe. Now, we start writing, but not writing letters, okay? Because maybe some of you who are watching this have actually written a letter in your life, or maybe a teacher assigned you homework where you had to write in the form of a letter. But my point is, when you're writing a letter, you take your time. You think about, is this sound good? No, no, no. You actually give some consideration to your diction, your word choice. Because you want to accurately convey the message. But if you're texting, the instant gratification environment that we're in now, you're not really, should I say this? And the same goes, like I said, for commenting on social media, which is, the impetus here. What caused me to say, what, I got to finally make this video about the difference between talking and writing. Now, I consider myself a good writer. And that's a recent development, right? I didn't even consider myself a writer at all until professors told me, "Hey, Don, this is good. Have you ever written before?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Well, we got something here. You can write." So anyway, my point, because I never wrote a paper in high school, okay, not a single one. And so I had to read many, many, many books, hundreds of books, in order to learn how to choose the right word. Oh, here we go, a Mark Twain quote. The difference between the right word and the almost right word is quite a large matter. 'Tis the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning. Okay? But we live in a time where people think the opposite, and they think, "Oh, it doesn't matter what word I use. They're going to understand what I mean." How silly is that assumption? Right? When you stop and think about it. So anyway, I've had so many of my friends misread my text messages, come back with something that's like, I don't even know what they read. Right? Because not everybody who texts is an experienced reader. Actually, let me go out on a limb here and say most people who communicate through writing every single day do not read and do not write. Never try to up their craft in any way. And the craft here being communication. Relating with other humans. Because guess what? That's how we do it. This thing, and now, your fingers are what we use to relate to each other. And wouldn't you know, our relating sucks lately. Because we're now writing to each other when none of us know what the fuck we're doing. You don't know how to write? Again, I'm assuming you, dear reader, don't know how to write. Well, you know what I mean, right? You see how when I speak, there's this tone? Well, guess what? That's not in writing. In writing, you have to create the tone with your word choice. But to me, it seems everyone's using the word great and literally, so you don't got no choice, do you? You're all using the same homogenized vocabulary, or no, wait, hold on. Vocabulary is the word, but lexicon, jargon, trendy buzzwords like amazing and great and literally and everything matters. I could go on and on. I could make like the modern dictionary. It would be, it would be pretty thin. These are the words people use. These are the words they don't use. I was like, wait a minute. I looked at the camera. I was like, it's not as big as the difference as I wanted it to be. Right? I'm not good at the physical metaphor or analogy. And I'm an English major, and I still get those two, like, they still, like, cross lines in my head. Where I'm like, I have to be like, all right, is it effect, EFFECT? Is it an effect, or is it an effect? Is it affecting AFFECT? Like, I have to, like, is it a metaphor, or is it a comparison, right? Anyway, going off on the tangent here. My point about us trying to write to each other in this very instant, oh, I'm going to dash it off real quick, as if I can pick the correct words that fast, okay? I mean, most of us can't even do it talking, okay? Most of us should stop and think before we speak more often, right? So to dash off quickly some writing is even more socially irresponsible. And I could just say antisocial behavior. Are you actually trying to relate, or are you just fucking going through the motions? So, lots of differences between writing, which is how we relate now, weird, and talking, which is how we used to relate. Like, if I wanted to court a young lass when I was a teenager, I had to pick up the phone and call her house, probably ask her parents' permission to talk to her because she didn't have her own dedicated number, right? And then talk to her and have awkward relations, because you gotta crawl before you run. That's another thing I think I see with young people and in older people too, because older people are just imitating young people. It used to be young people imitating old people. Ah! It's reversed now! Ain't no young people trying to look like old people like it was when I was growing up. I was trying to look older. Be older. And old people didn't want to do anything that the young people were doing. Well, guess what? Flip that. Flip it. Oh man, that tangent got me like away. Okay, we're back. So, let me relate to you the social media comment that inspired me to make this video. And what can I say to solve our problem here other than, stop fucking texting each other? And I don't know. Can you go back in time in your head to where like we still could like pick up the kids from soccer practice, get to school on time, do all this stuff without texting each other? How did we do it? By the way, texting has also stripped romance away from all the relationships out there. I feel bad for people in romantic relationships because they just text each other all the fucking time. You never get your own headspace ever. You're always fucking... Oh my god, a grape fell on the floor and rolled across the living room. And oh, the cat maybe looked at it sideways. Right? A blow-by-blow description as it happens. So when you finally get home to your mate and you guys get together, what do you got to talk about? Nothing. Because you done texted it all away. Right? So, I've studied romance a little bit in courtship. And there's a key element. And it's shared in humor Romance and humor have this in common, and that element is mystery. If you remove the mystery or the surprise, you don't got humor and you don't got romance. Okay? But anyway, back to the social media comment. I posted a picture on social media. Now, what the picture is of means nothing. Insignificant, right? Could have been a picture of my face, could have been a picture of paint drying on the wall. It doesn't matter what the picture was. One of my lovely friends who has never offended me in person, but multiple times over the years has offended me through text because that's how poor their word choices are. They're so poor, they are, here I'm going to use a buzzword, but I think it's appropriate. They are literally offensive. Choice of words is so bad, it's offensive. And, sometimes when I think about it, it's hard not to be personally offended because you're choosing to communicate with fucking me. And I'm me. I'm sorry. I have fucking standards. You know how I, exhibit those standards? When I talk to you. I'm a keen listener. I choose my words careful when I talk to you. So yeah, I expect it in return. And yeah, I don't get it most of the time. And that's fine. But when it's so bad, it grinds my gears. So anyway, here we go. I posted a picture. My lovely friend. His comment is, with some cropping and filters, you could have some pretty pictures. Now, would he have said that in real life? 100% no. Because I'm telling you, his body, all those 300,000 years of instincts would have kicked in. And he would have said something better. Something nicer. Because when he texted me about, because I'll tell you my follow-up comment. All right, so I post a picture and my friend says, hey, with some cropping and filters, you could have some pretty pictures. So implying that, first of all, I don't know about cropping and filters. Secondly, that, this picture is not so good. But with some help, it could be. It's passive aggressive, right? It's kind of like douchey, I've taken a survey, okay? Offline. In real life. And yeah, people are like, that's a weird comment if you're trying to be nice. But if you have to try to be nice, are you? I don't have to try. So, my comment back was, the same could be said about your comments. It could be pretty with some cropping and some editing. And I stand by that. It's perfect. I think it was the perfect comment. And of course, he texted me offline, was like, "Hey, he still didn't understand." So how social is that person if they cannot get out of their own head and get into the potential head of the person they're trying to relate to and read their words from a different point of view, which, by the way, is what you're supposed to do before you hit send. That's called empathy, right? You imagine what it's like, or you've gone through. Maybe sympathy too. Yeah, Don, you could have some pretty pictures there. you know, if you could work your smartphone, it has like cropping and editing, right? And like I said, I doubt he poured over that comment on social media before he hit send. It was just a, and then it was a what's the word I'm looking for? Spontaneous thing, right? But how dangerous is that? How dangerous is it to just write spontaneously? Because as we can see, what words can do when put in the wrong hands, right? They're weapons. I know because I am highly skilled, and I didn't know it for a long time. I didn't know I had this skill, so I'm shooting nuclear bombs at people, and I didn't know. Legit. Okay, I know the power I have now, so I try to be softer. Or I try to at least reserve, you know, my vitriol or harsh truths for people that are very close and I know I can trust that they're not going to like cancel me, or put me on some list of the people that they hate, right? Like some maybe other smaller people do in my life, right? But anyway, my point is that the words are so very powerful and we're just so flippant and nonchalant with them and just meh, meh, meh. And like I said, saying these words out of your mouth, you have a much better chance of being accurate in conveying the idea and the message that you want to the person you're supposedly attempting to relate to than you do when you fucking are typing or whatever you do. I had so many friends misread my texts. I send them a perfectly cogent fucking message. They send me back something that's like they read something else. And again, this goes to like you're just doing it fast. And it's like that's not how relations work. Us humans, we are awesome at relating to each other. If we, I don't know, try instead of doing 19 other things at the same time. Because when we try, it's real easy. But when we just, what's the word I'm looking for? Devalue communication down to where like we're just now abbreviating and using symbols and just we're trying to get it over with. It's what it seems like, right? We're just trying to get through it as quick as possible. Oh my God, I gotta relate to this other person. Let me fucking hurry up. In some ways, dude, my mother is so lucky. Because this ain't the world she was living in.